behalf of the Bahrain Meditation Center for this activity that we have. So join us, and for 30 minutes, we try to be connected together as spiritual beings. So in one way or another, we'll be able to connect and give the power of peace to each and every soul. So before I start the meditation, it's always good to have an idea of what the meditation is all about, the kind of meditation that we do, which we usually call the Raj Yoga meditation. And as the term denotes, Raja. Raja means to be a master, to be a king. So which means, especially nowadays, that a lot of situation out there can just dictate on our feelings and dictate on our emotions and dictate on eventually what we have to do. And if we are under the state of ignorance, we will just say that I feel bad because of the situation. I feel bad because of this person. So which means that I am under the influence of the situation, the people, and whatever is around me. But times is getting tougher. Times is getting more difficult. And I think the situation that we are in is just telling us that it's time to take control. It's time to take charge. Fortunately, we have this very powerful and beautiful, let's say, gadget or device that we may not have explored fully. And for this time that we are, we say, in a lockdown or we are by ourselves, it is actually the right time to be able to gain mastership. And that is the power of the mind. So meditation is all about the process by which I can practice to use this mind in a way that is beneficial for me, in a way that is beneficial for others as well. Because if I feel good, if I feel happy, what happens? People around me will do the same, isn't it? But if I feel grumpy, if I feel moody, what happens? That energy will just also flow in there as naturally. So in meditation, it's all about choosing consciously the kind of thoughts that I would want to plant in my mind. Because one thing that when I learned this meditation, I always put in mind is my feeling is just the byproduct of the thoughts that I have put in my mind in relation to people, in relation to the situation that had come. So actually, it's not about the situation. It's not about people, but it's all about the thoughts that I have put into my mind in relation to that. And now who creates the thought? It's not the situation. It's not the people, but it is I who have come up with the thoughts. So first thing is, I am the creator of thoughts. So thoughts, when I put thoughts, it will create the feeling. Definitely, no? So it's like the juicer. You put sour fruit, you will get sour juice. So mind is like the juicer. So I have now, the practice first is the content. So to pay full attention about the thoughts, the content of the thoughts that I put in my mind. And I have the choice to put whatever thoughts that I would put in. And the next is the concentration, focus. So I choose to put these thoughts, whatever thoughts, not that I have chosen. The question now is the capacity to be able now to put, it's like, you grasp it, you grab it in such a way that your attention is there. Okay? Because the more that we put our energy into it, the more that we put concentration into it, then that becomes a reality. So whatever I put in my mind becomes a reality. It's just a matter of time that it will be experienced out there. So I would say that meditation is actually an art of how I can guide my thoughts. I can guide my mind, make this mind be my best friend, to be able now to come up with that internal experience which is beyond the senses. And if I create this kind of world inside, this is what I'm going to offer out there. So I take control. I have a choice of what chain of thoughts that I have now to put in relation to what I see, to what I hear. And based on that, okay, with that practice of going inward, and then I now explore what are the things that I can take to be able now to create that internal experience that benefits me in many aspects and that benefits the others out there. Okay, so when so before I go into meditation, so I start with some thoughts to guide us, no? And then the mind will want to wander. Okay, it will wander. So the thing is to come back to the thoughts that I am putting in a gentle way, in a gentle way. Okay, leave that and then come down to the thought that I am suggesting, and then later is to to come up with the feeling that is suggested by the thought. Don't stay all the time on into the thought, but later allow the thought to fade away, and what remains is just that feeling, okay, that you have. Allow this feeling to emerge. Allow this feeling to be experienced internally, and all the rest will be fine. Okay, so shall we try? Let's go into the meditation. So let's have the theme of peace to start with. I allow this body to come to stillness, come to rest, and just be. It's time to give some amount of rest to this body that had been serving me the whole time. And gently, I move my awareness into that energy that makes this body the real I, the truth about I am this eternal, powerful, beautiful energy of separate from this body. I, that point of at the center of the form. And as I focus on this truth about myself, the point of light, slowly all other thoughts that had come just stay in the back. And I flood my mind with thoughts of the eternal, of the truth about myself. I am. I am. And that's the way it is. I go into the unlimited, beyond the senses, by focusing into that light energy that I am. In this light energy, sparkles at the center of my forehead. The light energy contains serenity, unlimited, like the vast ocean. If I go into the awareness of this unlimited, I experience freedom. I experience eternity. So after this meditation, if everybody is aware, we're going to have talk by our dear brother from Turkey. So this is also the benefit of the situation that we're in. So we think we are locked down. No. Yeah, so after the meditation, a song will play to end up and to connect with our activity that will come next. So continue with this powerful energy that you have generated with the song that will be played now. Then we will have the talk with me introducing our guest speaker.
Breathe on me, breath of life. Shake the dust from the stars tonight. Light a candle in my name. Together maybe we could learn to change. The gift of silver becomes the deepest secrets will unfold. The night is shattered by the rising sun, and all the earth will sing the same song. Breathe on me, breath of love, and wrap the broken pieces of this heart. Find the voices, make them still, and hold the shadows back and drink your fill. I'm tired of fighting words stored in my head, and all the dreams we've left unsaid. The sun is rising, now it won't be long till all the earth will sing the same song. Breathe on me, breath of life, and shake the dust from the stars tonight. Light a candle, say my name. Together maybe we could learn to change. Together maybe we could learn to change.
Om Shanti. Not then. There is, we can still catch up. I was saying earlier, we may see that this main, we can look at this, what is happening on another perspective. So like now, so what's happening is we can go unlimited, like we have unlimited audience. No? So wherever you are, you can join us. And what more is, we can have access now to our brothers and sisters who are so full of wisdom and so full of compassion and so full of that very beautiful feeling of wanting to share whatever they can based on their experiences. So without tonight, okay, as part of our seminar supposed to be on every Tuesday, is the topic on feeling safe, secure, and stable. Today, we are, the greeting that we get when somebody says something on the messages, we always say, stay safe, stay safe. It's very encouraging, it's very motivating, but truly, how do we get to stay safe? So our speaker tonight, Brother Yogesh Sharda from Turkey, who's based in Turkey. He's a development trainer. He's a meditation teacher, of course. And he had been practicing meditation at a very young age. So that with this, I suppose when you get to see him, no, he still looks very young, no, because of his practice. And really, no, so full of wisdom, so full of experiences exuding that he wants to share every time. So I would say with his, with my interaction with him, with his, I find him so light, but so full of wisdom that he can share to us a lot of inspiration to be able to stay safe, secure, and stable amidst situations like this. So let's all welcome, without much ado, our Brother Yugesh shared so brother.
Hello, good evening. Can you hear me? So firstly, good evening and big thanks to Bahrain Meditation Center for the chance to share some ideas with you tonight. And I've had the pleasure of being there a few times and seeing the tremendous work that all the sisters and brothers do there. So big congratulations for serving the community in such a tirelessly beautiful way. So as was mentioned in the introduction, that I've been on the spiritual journey or the inner journey for most of my life since I was very young. And I'm receiving some messages saying I cannot hear anything. Can you still hear me okay? Okay, all right. Okay, I continue. And so, of course, we are passing through some very unprecedented and challenging times. And it's happening globally to everyone, which is why there's a real concern that how to take care of ourselves and how to take care of other people. But of course, dealing with challenges, dealing with difficulties in the outside world is nothing new. It's been happening in pockets of the world for a long time with problems we have, whether it's natural disasters, whether it's wars, poverty, etc. But since it's global now, and I've heard around 100 countries or so are in some form of lockdown. And so the question arises that how are we living? What can we do to upgrade the way we live? Is there something more that we need to learn about how to take care of ourselves on the inside? All right. Okay, I carry on. Okay, so let's continue. So basically, in my own journey, in my own experience, I'd like to summarize a few points which I would consider as salient and important points in the spiritual approach to life. And it's like this, that when we are in let's say a regular lifestyle, then the way we live is what I would call as the outside in lifestyle. And that's where whatever is happening outside of me is determining how I feel on the inside. And simply put, for me, spirituality means reversing that dynamic. And that means that I choose the way I wish to feel on the inside, and I express that to the outside. And within this context, I would say that there are, let's say, three main types of people. The majority of people, I would say, are in the mode of surviving. And I remember when I used to first started work in central London, one goes into the office and one asks other people, "Good morning, how are you?" And most people would say, "Well, I'm just surviving." And it kind of became a bit of a cliche term, just to survive. But the thought would arise in my mind that simply to survive, is that enough? Simply to get through life and survive, is that really enough? Survive is what maybe a plant would do, what a tree would do. But we are human beings. We have creativity, we have intelligence, we have the ability to change our perspective. So simply to survive means I'm not really using my inner faculties properly. Then the second level up I would say, is those who exist. So a person who exists goes through the daily challenges, the daily experiences of life, in which sometimes things happen as you wish, sometimes they happen not the way you wish. Sometimes you succeed, sometimes you fail, sometimes you are praised, sometimes you are criticized. Sometimes something wonderful happens for you. Other times you're faced with a difficult challenge. And when you're in the exist mode, then the way you feel is very much a result of the things which are happening outside of you. And so it's a little bit like being in an emotional pinball machine. Your mind, your emotions are bouncing off what happened, what somebody said, what somebody should have done, how it should have happened. And in that condition, there's really no sense of control over my own emotions. And therefore, we tend to go on a roller coaster of emotions, up and down, because there is a lack of self-control. But the highest group, and I think we are interested to be in that group, is of those who really live. Now, what does it mean to live? This is a question, of course, which is arising for many, especially in these times. I believe what it means to live is you go through the daily routines, the daily experiences of life. And yes, sometimes you succeed, sometimes you fail, sometimes you are praised, sometimes you are criticized, sometimes you're the center of attention, other times you're ignored. So all of that happens. But to be in the mode of living means that the way I feel is in my hands. In other words, I choose how I wish to feel. And that's based upon the understanding and the realization that my thoughts and my feelings are my own creation. And I believe that this is one of the important messages that time is now asking us to take on board. I believe as we pass through this global pandemic, we also need to ask ourselves, what is time telling me? What is life telling me? And for me, one of the messages for humanity in the context of today's discussion is this, that if I want to feel secure, if I want to feel safe, if I want to feel stable, then I need to bring care for my mind to the top of my priority list. And generally what I've found is when one speaks about meditation, self-awareness, these kinds of practices, for most people, they would say, yeah, it's very good, it's nice, it's interesting, but I don't have time. I have a family to take care of. I spend many hours at the job. I have to go to the gym. I've got shopping. I have friends and so on. So when I have time, then I will do this. So for most people, it tends to come number 4 or number 5 in their list. But I think what time is telling us now, and what this global scenario is telling us now, is I really need to bring soul care or care for the inner self to the very top of my priority list. And just as our body requires oxygen and water mainly, so too the mind requires peace. The mind requires silence. And one has to build into one's life these kinds of practices if I want the mind to remain strong. And let's look at the mind for a few moments. It has been quoted in many traditions throughout history that the quality of your life depends upon the quality of your mind. If you can control your mind, you can control or conquer the world, it is said. The mind is the interface between you and the world. but yet how little attention we generally pay to it. Now think, for example, of when you buy a new machine, any machine, whether it's a computer or it's a car, it's a fridge, but along with that machine, what do you receive? You also receive a user manual. And that user manual tells you how to look after that machine properly and also how to use it properly, how to take care of it and how to use it. And so the question arises, well, where is the user manual for the mind? What kind of thoughts are healthy for me first thing in the morning? What kind of thoughts should come later? How to wake up in the morning? How to think during the day? How many thoughts are enough for a particular situation? How to put the mind to sleep at night? And I believe all of these things we used to be more aware of in the past, but in our 24/7 lifestyle these days, we tend to have forgotten the importance of taking care of the mind. And we look at some practices we can do to make the mind stronger. Basically, there are two things which I believe determine how we feel inside about the things happening on the outside. Two things which determine whether we feel safe or unsafe, whether we feel secure or we feel anxious and tense and stressed, whether our mind is stable or we find our emotional ups and downs. Two things which are really fundamental to allowing us to have a better experience as we pass through challenges. One of those is how strong your mind is. The second is how you see life. In other words, the two things which help us in these areas, how strong your mind is helped by learning to meditate, building meditation practices into your daily life. The second thing is having a greater understanding of life, a greater understanding of events, which changes the way you feel about things. It could be said that you cannot control what life brings to you, but you can control how you choose to receive it. You may not be able to control what comes in front of you, but you can control how you choose to look at it. Now, generally what I find happens for most people is they see what happens in life, whether it's a global scenario or something in personal life, and they forget they have a choice in how they wish to see it. Because of seeing life from one particular angle, which I would call as a limited angle, our emotional state is the result of that. And when we see life from a limited perspective, then there is insecurity, there is fear, there is anxiety. So I'd like to explore a few ideas about how to see life from what I would call as an unlimited angle. And so let's look at it like this, and then we'll do a few meditation practices as we go along too. So I was doing some thinking about fears, where fears come from. And insecurity, anxiety, tension, of course, these are all different forms of fear. And what I understood was that fears are basically born out of limited beliefs which we carry in our minds. So let's look at three particular limited beliefs, three particular false beliefs, which give rise to three kinds of fears which are very common today. And one, for example, is the fear of one's own passing away, the fear of death. And now let's look at this, that what false belief is the fear of death based upon? The basic false belief there is that this physical body is me. So when one lives in this awareness that I am simply a physical body and one day I will finish, then of course there will be the fear that I don't want to perish. I must continue to find any way to keep the body alive because I think I am the physical body. If I live in that awareness of being finite, of being a physical body, then the fear of death is the result. Now, the antidote to that, or the truth which we need to counter that fear of death, is being aware of what I would call as the first truth, which many would have studied and been aware of, and that is that I am eternal. I can never die. I am a spiritual energy. I am light. I am peace. I am non-physical. Now, it's not enough simply to accept this. It's also not enough to know this. It's not enough to believe this. But what is important is to practice it, to experience it. And that's where meditation comes in. As some of you will know, the meditation that we do in Bahrain Meditation Center and other meditation centers, it's not a question of simply a technique of sitting down and meditating, but it's about living in meditation. And in this regard, I would say there's two groups of people here. There are people who meditate, and there are meditators. So people who meditate, they practice some form of meditation to de-stress, to handle the challenges of life, to face the difficulties that they come across, and that can be fine for a person. But to be a meditator means it's a lifestyle. And that means as I go through day-to-day life, going to work or dealing with my daily responsibilities, engaging with other people in conversation and so on, one part of my mind is naturally aware, is naturally vigilant, is naturally checking what kind of thoughts am I producing. Because meditators realize the most important energy we have is the power of our thoughts. And in fact, it has also been said life is simply a game of thoughts. When one thinks too much, we are throwing away this precious, precious fuel of thought power. And the result there is the mind becomes weak. When the mind is weak, and our energy levels go down, and then we easily become afraid by what we see or hear, or we become reactive, and tension, anxieties, fears, insecurities, all these things grow when the mind is weak. So how to make the mind strong? Well, here are a few simple practices which you may wish to put into your life, and then we'll do a little meditation to experience this. So what I would suggest is that when one wakes up in the morning, then before you start engaging with life, first you engage with yourself, your inner self. Spend a few minutes experiencing the peace which is at the very center of your consciousness. And so before going further into it, let's do this now. Let's start with a little meditation exercise now. So it's a beginner's exercise. So I would suggest, if you're able to, try and have your back straight and have your feet flat on the floor if you can. It's important to be comfortable, but also to be alert. And you may have your eyes half open or closed if that's more comfortable for you. Of course, if eyes are closed, then one needs to pay special attention not to drift off to sleep. So I'll start with a very simple visualization. So let's just take a few moments to step back from the world of action, from the world of doing, and let me just be with myself. So in this simple exercise, we use the power of images. Because the mind thinks in pictures. And so just to draw your attention in towards yourself, and now draw your attention up towards your face, and now draw your attention to the center of the forehead. And here, the center of the forehead, just picture a small room. This small room is your quiet room of peace. This is your private and personal space. Your quiet room is the place where you can relax completely. This is the place where you can be yourself. Your quiet room of peace is your sacred space. The place where you can recharge your mind. Inside your quiet room, you are safe. You are secure. You are free from the pressures and the demands of the outside world. You can step away from your daily roles and responsibilities. Feel the silence, the wonderful peace of your quiet room. Just allow your mind to absorb this atmosphere of serenity, tranquility. And as you do so, the thoughts begin to slow down. The mind becomes calm, quiet, relaxed, peaceful, and free. Just be with this feeling of peace in your mind for 1 minute. And when you feel ready, just return to the awareness of your present location. So I usually ask people at this point, how do you feel? And generally people say they feel more relaxed, they feel more calm, and it's not so difficult to do. It's just a question of making time and then practice. This really is the way that I believe in this day and age. This is how human beings should start the day. Before you talk to any person, before you look at the mobile phones, before you think about the day, first engage with yourself. Because the first truth, as we're mentioning, is I am a spiritual energy, I am a soul, and peace is my nature. Peace is the basic nature of every human soul, but that peace now has to be awakened. That peace has to be brought out. How? Simply by being aware of it. Be aware of this thought, I am a peaceful soul. And so I would suggest start the day with this, and if it's new for you, experiment for 1 week and see how you feel. Then just going through the day. Second thing as you go through the day is you try to stop for about 3 minutes or so, or 2 minutes if you don't have 3 minutes. Stop at least a couple of times or 3 times a day and just visit that quiet room once again inside. Now, why to do this? It's because it's during the day that challenges arise. It's during the day that Things happen which you didn't expect, or you may have a difficult conversation with someone, or you receive news which maybe is not so pleasant for you. And so stopping during the day is what we as meditators, we call as traffic control for the mind. Now imagine the thoughts in your mind are like the cars in the street. The question arises, how is the traffic up here? Are my thoughts flowing in an orderly fashion? Are they organized? Is there some sort of coordination with my thoughts? Or is my mind going in all different directions? I'm thinking of what I should do today, something which happened yesterday, or he shouldn't have said that, why didn't they ask me first? Thoughts going in all different directions. And when that happens, then there is a traffic jam in the mind. And we all know where there's a traffic jam, so much time and energy is wasted. And it's the same also with the mind. Just as one car parked in the wrong place can block 100 other cars, in the same way, one waste thought, one negative thought, can block the flow of my happiness, my creativity, my positivity. Okay, sometimes it happens. We're not perfect yet. Therefore, the practice of traffic control is necessary. Try and slow down, try and physically stop if you can, sit down somewhere and do a little practice of going from the world of action to the world of being. From the outside world of expression to the place of silence and peace inside. And I believe that if you do this regularly, at least twice a day, so I would suggest if it's new for you, 10:30 in the morning and middle of the afternoon, maybe 2:30 in the afternoon, even one more if you can at 5:30. What you're doing if you practice this is you're breaking the mind's habit of speeding. This is a habit most people have, is overthinking and a mind that is moving too fast. And we all know in the road that when you're speeding, then it's easy to have an accident. It's difficult to stop, it's difficult to change direction. It's the same with our thoughts too. When the mind is speeding, we can misunderstand a situation, misunderstand people, and completely get the wrong end of the stick. And if our thoughts are then not proportional to a situation, our emotions are also not proportional. So calming the mind down with these little traffic control practices during the day is an essential practice to conserving the energy of my mind. So it's a second suggestion. So it's the morning meditation, traffic control during the day. And then the third thing is then how to put the mind to sleep. So again, at the end of the day, here is something that I was told once many years ago when I was a child, and I still use it today. And that is the concept that think of the whole of life as a theater performance. Think of the whole of life as a drama. And when it comes to the end of the day, then consider this, that for today, the drama, the play, the theater is over. For today, the curtains have closed. So whatever happened today, whether it was something good or something not so good, whether I did something amazing or I did something very silly, whatever happened today, no matter what it was, today's drama is finished. Today's drama is closed. Multiply the day by 0. Finish the day. Empty the mind of the thoughts of the day. Allow the mind to be light and then go to sleep. If the mind is light, then the sleep can be deep, can be peaceful, can be restful. But if you don't do that, if you allow the mind to continue to work, continue to process, then there are also problems with sleeping. And then we wake up in the morning after several hours of lying on the bed, but we wake up tired. It's rather like how you would close a computer. Now, the mind has a mechanism, just as the computer has a mechanism. And if you simply pull the plug of the computer when you want to close it, then of course the next morning it will punish you. It will tell you computer was not closed properly. And so there are stages. You sign off, you log off, you switch off. You have to go through the various steps. In the same way, to really put the mind to sleep, especially in these days when we have information overload, misinformation, disinformation, and also other people's stress and difficult emotions around us, it's necessary to put the mind to sleep consciously in this way. Remove the thoughts of the day, allow the mind to be light. And it's a question of practice of how to do this. One may say, well, I tried, but I wasn't so successful. It's okay. Anything which is meaningful, anything which is going to be useful to us, takes practice and regularity in practice. Just like, driving a car or cooking something, learning a musical instrument, regularity in practice. And therefore, my own suggestion is for those for whom this may be new, practice in a systematic way for 1 week and see how you feel at the end of that week. And generally, people find there's a positive change in themselves, in their thoughts and their emotions, and they choose to make it part of their lifestyle. So these 3 suggestions are there to boost the energy level of the mind and not to waste our thought energy. So then coming back to those fears, I mentioned one, the fear of death, and the antidote to this is practicing to live in the awareness, I am an eternal soul. I am a spiritual energy. I can never die. Not just to believe it, but to live it, to practice it, to experience it, to feel it, and to make it part of your natural consciousness. Second big fear I find most people have, which is again makes them feel very insecure, is the fear of losing someone. In other words, the death of some person close to me, some person I know. Now let's just explore this word, that why do we use the word losing? And in my understanding and my conversations with colleagues, in most languages, this word loss is used when somebody passes away. And we say things like, I am sorry for your loss, or 2 years ago we lost so-and-so. But this fear of losing someone is based upon a limited or false belief. And that false belief is that I can own someone. I possess someone. If I think I own someone, I will have the fear that I may lose that one day. And I believe the reality, the truth, is in fact I don't own anyone. All of us spiritual beings, all of us souls, we play our parts in the big theater of life. We meet, we interact, we dance, so to speak. But then a time comes when I, the soul, I continue on my journey, and the other soul also continues on their journey. And yes, we may meet again in another way. And here it's important to understand the law of pure love. Often it's said fear, or you can choose either fear or love as your motive, what's driving you in life. But I believe the law of pure love is this, that you can take care of others, you can support others, you can share with others, you can help others, you can be close to others, you can encourage others, you can inspire others, but you cannot possess the other. When I try to possess someone, I'm breaking the law of pure love. When you break any kind of law, there is a penalty. And the penalty we experience when you try to possess or own another person is I lose my happiness, I lose my peace. And then there are these feelings of instability, insecurity, or not feeling safe. And so the antidote to this is not just the awareness that I am a spiritual energy or a spiritual being, but let me begin to relate to others also as spiritual beings. Think of this, that when you see another person, what is the first thing that you see? Is it the age of the person? Is it the race, the skin color? Is it the gender? Is it the nationality? Is it the family? Is it maybe the profession? Or do I see the other first also as a spiritual being, as a soul? And for this, you may like to practice when you see another person, try to visualize the star energy, the soul energy in the forehead, and simply have that thought, here is another soul. Here is a fellow soul. When we have this spiritual connection with each other, then what's going to happen is that I'm going to be able to generate genuine love and respect for the other. And I believe that's when our relationships become very stable. Genuine love and respect. These are the two main things that people want from other people. I just quickly share my own personal experience in this context. Some years ago, my father passed away. It was in London, and I was traveling somewhere, and he was in hospital. I couldn't get a flight to come back on time, so he had already departed by the time I reached. And I got there I think the day before the funeral. But when I reached London, I wanted to go with my brother to see at the funeral parlor to see the body. And so I remember when I walked in there, and the body was in an open coffin. But the moment I saw him, the thought came in my mind very strongly that this is not my father. The thought was, this is just the jacket that he was wearing. It's like, and he has left this jacket. It's like he said, okay, I finished with this. And he's hung the jacket on the hook, as it were, and he has moved on. So who did I have that love for? Who did I have that friendship or that relationship with? Was it with the jacket? No, it was with the being. It was with the personality. It was with the soul. And that soul has now finished one particular role, and that soul has now gone on and is playing some other role. So that feeling was there that, all of us are spiritual actors in the theater of life. All of us are souls. And if I can live in that awareness all the time, then it's like I'm taking my consciousness into the unlimited. To move from our current limited beliefs into the unlimited awareness, For that, we need spiritual knowledge. That's the fuel which takes our consciousness into the unlimited. The more you are in the unlimited, the more secure you will feel, the more stable you'll feel, and the more helpful you are also to others who are around you. And this is why it's important, I believe, to study spiritual wisdom every day. As some of you may know, that for us as meditators, we start the day with meditation, but then after that, we spend some time in spiritual study, reading some uplifting spiritual wisdom. And if that's what I'm thinking first thing during the day, it's going to give my mind energy to be stable through the day when challenges come. And so that's the second fear, the fear of losing someone. And the antidote: practice seeing others as eternal spiritual beings, spiritual energies, souls. Spiritualize your relationships and just see how differently you feel when you have that spirituality as the main basis of relationship with others. Then the third thing, the third big fear, which I've noticed, is the fear of not receiving what I think is due to me. Some people call this as FOMO, F-O-M-O, which stands for the fear of missing out. And so it creates a kind of anxiety in the mind that I need to pay attention to absolutely everything in case I miss out on something. And I believe most people are doing what they are doing, not so much because they love it, maybe a little bit, but mostly because of the fear of what may happen if they don't do it. So it's like a fear-based lifestyle. And of course, the energy of fear does not really bring real peace. So for this, we have to explore our understanding of life. So broadly speaking, let me make it short because it's a deep topic. You can have the approach that life is a series of random and spontaneous events which just happen, and that's the way it is. Stuff just happens and there's no reason behind it. Life is spontaneous. Some people are lucky, some people are not lucky, and that's how it is. Or you can have another approach, and that is that there is some kind of mechanism to life. There is a system by which things happen. There are certain principles which are guiding human experience and human events. And needless to say, I subscribe to the second paradigm. There is a principle, there are systems behind which are causing events to happen. Now, some people call it as the law of cause and effect, or some call it the law of choice and consequence, or the law of action and reaction, or the word which most will have heard, simply the law of karma. And what that tells us is that I just need to make sure that the actions I perform, whatever comes out of me, actions means thoughts, actions means words, actions means physical expression, doing things. On all these three levels, I just need to make sure that there is virtue, there are values behind what I express. Honesty, for example, integrity, fairness, kindness, and all the other values and virtues you can think of. If I pay attention to what is coming out of me, then necessarily there will be a quiet confidence and a security that my actions will take care of me. I don't need to be over concerned with what others are doing or not doing. And I believe the people who really pay attention to the quality of their behavior and checking how clean the intention is behind their actions, how much virtue there is behind my behavior, such people have this confidence inside them. They don't run after things. They know that at the right time, the right thing will come to me. In simple terms, some people say, at the end of the day, your karma will protect you. No need to overthink, but simply continue to pay attention and more attention to checking the values, the purity of my intention behind my behavior. And at the end of the day, these are the things which really matter, I believe. I'll just share one more little personal story here. Again, this was a couple of years ago. I was in a gathering. Actually, it was a meditation gathering, and one guy in the meditation class, he passed away. He died right there and then, and I was one of the people closest to him. And of course, there were some first aiders in the room who knew what to do, and they called the paramedics and so on. And I kind of helped, to put him down. And then, of course, after a while, we had to clear the room. But I remember when I saw the paramedics working on him as he was on the floor, trying to revive him, trying to check him, and so on. The thought which came to my mind, and it wasn't a conscious thought, but it just came up from the subconscious, was this, that, one day, of course, everybody's time will come. One day my time will come to leave this particular body. And so what will I ask myself when that time comes? And so the thought which came to my mind was this, how much love did I share? How much happiness did I give? How many smiles did I create? How many spirits did I uplift? And I was thinking, those are the things which really matter at the end of the day. That's the criteria I would use to measure a meaningful, a kind of a successful life, as it were. And I think that if we all pay more attention to these things in our daily relationships, then not only am I helping others, but it's also going to make me spiritually strong. It's going to help to remove the fears and the anxieties. So it's not enough just to stop the waste thoughts. That's, of course, very important. Stop the waste words. But in addition, how much happiness can I generate to others? How much positivity do I have in my behavior? How much love can I share with whoever it is around me? And that kind of karma, which we call as sukh karma, or positive karma, also helps to make the soul strong. And when the soul is strong, then of course, these feelings of insecurity and anxiety, they begin to dissipate and finish. So, oops, that's making sense. I've got one more thing just to share, and then we will finish with a little meditation. Excuse me. And that is just being aware of what I call as the power pyramid in this world. Now, I would say there's like 4 kingdoms of power in the world. It's like a pyramid. And on the top of that is the human soul. There's nothing more powerful in this world than the human soul. Then second level down comes the animal souls, all the different species, animal souls. Third level down I call it as the kingdom of plants and vegetation and nature and so on. Then the lowest is what we call as the kingdom of rocks and clay. Now, we human souls, we are the most powerful energies, but because of misusing the energy of the mind, we have become weak. And that weakness means that we get influenced by everything else. But there's also another energy which is more powerful than us, and that's the energy of the supreme power, the supreme being, the supreme soul. Different words are there. And what is also useful to us, and I would say, in fact, not just useful but essential, is we need to connect our minds with that supreme power and download that power, that energy into ourselves. And this connection, this soul to supreme soul connection, that of course is the truest and the deepest meaning of the word yoga. Some will know that the word yoga comes from the word yuje. Yuje means union or connection or link. So the soul and supreme soul connection, it is sort of the highest action a human being can do is to make that connection, to experience that connection. Because when we do that, it's like my own soul battery is being recharged. My powers of peace, love, joy are being awakened. And so how to do that? Well, let's do a little meditation to experience that, because it's something that each human soul has a right to, regardless of age, nationality, religion, culture, socioeconomic profile, the ability to experience my personal and private sense of connection with the Supreme Being. And in our practice, we feel this should be something real and very, very deep and intimate. And let me add one thing here is, let's say, 3 approaches that people have towards the Supreme Energy. Think, for example, of if a beggar knocks on your door. So if a beggar knocks on your door, then what would you do? You may open the door, but probably you would not invite the beggar into the house to sit down and to relax. You may say, well, just hold on there and I'll bring you some food, I'll bring you some clothes, or I'll give you something. Second scenario, think, for example, if the cleaning man or the cleaning lady comes to your house. So that individual is in your house, has access to the house, but still there are some no-go areas. There may be some private areas for which you say, well, don't go in there, or don't go into that particular area. Then take a third example of someone who is your child. Now, for a child, you would say, well, my house is your house. I want you to feel at home. This is your house. You are the master of the house. Now, we can use these 3 analogies to explore one's own personal approach to the Supreme. So some have this kind of beggar approach, where I'm asking the Supreme for something. Give me this, give me that. I would like this, I would like the other. Please help me, or please help a family member. And it's like the beggar approach. And I believe that also the Supreme wants us to let go of that and come closer. Second approach is one who is like the cleaner. Why does the cleaning person clean your house? It's because you pay that person. We give some money, and therefore the cleaner comes and cleans. If we don't pay that person, then the cleaner won't come. And so that's a kind of commercial relationship with the Supreme. And that's where somebody has this approach, well, I will do this, but if you do that for me, I will be good, but I want to see something coming back. I want some results. So it's trade, it's business, it's commerce. And so it's a business relationship, which is a distant relationship. But the third one, I believe, is the one which the Supreme also would wish us to experience. And that's the child and the parent relationship. So to be a child of the Supreme Being, the Supreme Energy, a child means what? A child means a sense of safety. I am safe in the company of my parent. A child means a sense of belonging. I belong to somewhere. I belong to someone. The third is the child has all rights over the parent's property. So the Supreme Being is the ocean of peace, the ocean of love, the ocean of joy. I have a right to that property also. And I think, again, this is it's a high time for each human being to look at my personal link, my personal connection with the Supreme, and work on making it deeper, more real, more experiential, more intimate, so that it helps me in my day-to-day life. So let's do this. Let's now have a little meditation to experience this. Let's see, I don't know if there's time for questions. Let's look at that later. So once again, I ask, if you can, have your back straight, have your feet flat on the floor. And just try and follow the commentary as best as you can. So once again, I take a few moments just to be with myself. And I start by asking the question, who am I? Behind the roles I play every day, who am I? Behind the masks I wear every day, who am I? When I look in the mirror, I see the reflection of my face and my body. But there is more to me than simply this. And so I bring my attention up towards my face and up to the center of the forehead. And here I picture this beautiful star of peaceful light. Just to visualize this wonderful star of peaceful light in the center of your forehead. This is the star of peace. And from this star, waves of peaceful energy are radiating throughout my body. Sending peace and healing energy to every part of the body. This wonderful star of peaceful light in the forehead, this is me. This is I, the eternal soul. I, the soul, I am living spiritual energy. I, the soul, I am eternal. I can never die. And deep inside, I, the soul, there is a reservoir of inner peace. This peace has always been inside me. And now I choose to emerge this peace once again. What I have to do is just be aware. I am peace. I am light. I am eternal. I, the soul, I am a child of the Supreme. The Supreme is my true friend, my guide, my parent, my teacher. The Supreme is the ocean of peace, the ocean of love. Let me bathe in these rays of peace, of love, of strength. This is my right. Let me come closer to the Supreme, the true friend of the soul, the one who does not see my weakness, the one who knows me better then I know myself. The one who accepts me as I am. The one whose only interest is to uplift me, to guide me, to empower me, to free me. Just remain in these thoughts for a few moments. Okay, thank you.
So, brother, we can't thank you enough. I guess everyone will join me in joining me to express how amazing it is really to feel so safe and secure. So I guess we're running out of time. We are going to entertain two questions. So write in the chat board, put in the chat board whatever questions that you would want to be clarified by our dear brother Yogesh before we close in now. Okay, so we're going to wait. So in the meantime, while waiting for these questions, I would really express so much what we have learned. It's really touching down to the heart. I would say brother was saying, no, stay, what is that now? The soul care. So want to make sure that everybody had received the soul care kit. So now, after receiving the soul care kit, it's our responsibility to make do of whatever we have received tonight. So great wisdom and so great love from our dear brother Yogesh. So according to our sister here, that Sister Ansuya, that there are no questions. I think it's all clear. They're all in the soul care kit that is given by brother Yogesh. So brother, really, so we thank you, million thanks for the energy that you have given tonight. No, it's so powerful. Thank you to the divine, and thank you, our appreciation to all the people behind how we can make this possible, and everyone who joined in tonight. So we'll see you on the scheduled dates that we have put in there for meditation, and hope to see you, brother, coming to Bahrain once again. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Thank
we
you.
hope for that time. Yeah. Regards to
Good
everyone.
night.
To
Take care.
everyone.
Stay safe.
Now we can say, stay safe, and stay safe. Om Shanti.